right. Well, welcome everyone. We are so excited that you are able to join us this afternoon, or though for those of you on the West Coast, late morning. We are thrilled to have two fabulous guests today with us for our Thought Leadership Speak webinar series. Crystal Cherry and Taylor Shanklin. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hey,
Great.
Josh, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a rainy day. I'm in Washington, D.C. today, and it is a rainy day, but this is the ray of sunlight that I needed in my afternoon. So excited to be talking to you all. Let's see. We have a number of people pouring in here. Now, why don't you go ahead and pop in the chat where you're from. Now, Crystal, you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right. And that's where your company is based in. Remind us, which company are you with again? Your consultancy.
The Board Pro. The Board Pro. I'm located in Atlanta.
Fantastic. And
Yes.
Taylor is usually in North Carolina, but today dialing in remotely from Texas.
That's right. Yeah, I'm normally in Boone, North Carolina. I see someone from Charlotte, so I'm just a couple hours up the mountain from Charlotte in the sticks. But today I'm at a client conference, and I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, down in the Fort Worth stockyards. So we went out last night to see some cowboy and cowgirl stuff.
It has to be good Instagram photos or something. We'll have to.
Yeah, I'll get you some tonight when we go back out.
So let's see what we got here. Jennifer in here from Indianapolis, Jill from East Hampton, New York, Paris, France. Oh wow, that's oh, look at that. You all are drawing an international crowd here.
That's amazing.
Kay from Northern Michigan, Boston, Charlotte, Toronto. Yeah, totally international. Oh my gosh, look at all these folks. Diane from Ohio. Very, very, very exciting. All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. I know there's amazing content. I got to take a preview of this deck. So I want to make sure that we have enough time for you all to present and make sure that we have time for the team or our participants to ask questions. So with that being said, I am going to dive in here. Just some quick housekeeping notes. We'll be recording this webinar, so don't worry. We'll be sending an email out later today with the recording. So if you miss something or you just want to review a section of the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to do that. We'll also send out the deck as well, and so you'll have that to follow up on as well. So as far as chat goes, if you have questions for our fabulous speakers today, please use that Q&A button. It's in the Zoom control panel. So Q&A for questions. If you just want to chat, if you want to sort of make a general comment that doesn't need a response, feel free to use the chat box. All right. So chat for general responses, Q&A for specific questions for our speakers. And with that, I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself. For those of you I have not met, my name is Joshua Meyer. I'm on the marketing team over at Bloomerang. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Bloomerang, we provide donor database and management services, as well as online fundraising tools. If you are in the need for a donor database, or maybe the donor database that you have right now isn't quite cutting it, we'd love to have the opportunity to chat and try and figure out if there's a way that we can help you be a better fundraiser. Even though you're probably an amazing fundraiser to start with, we're just going to sort of, help you take it to the next level. So enough about Bloomerang. I know that's not why you're here, but I'm going to get in trouble if I don't mention this one. We are running a promotion right now. So if part of your 2023 resolution is to get a new database or to get your first donor database or online fundraising tools, feel free to reach out. We have a URL here. You can drop a note in the chat and I will follow up with you, and we'll give you an opportunity at the end here for our team to follow up as well. So enough about that. It is now my pleasure. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I am going to hand it over to our speakers where Taylor's going to run the slides there, and I'll let them introduce yourself. Taylor, Crystal, take it away.
Great. Okay, give me just 1 second here. I'm going to switch over to my screen share and get into presenter mode here. All right, can you guys see it okay?
That's great.
All right, great, cool. Well, hey, thanks so much everybody for joining us here today. Year end is upon us. And my girl Crystal and I, we are excited to talk about how to get your CEO and or your board involved in embracing year-end fundraising. So I'll kick it off, then I'm going to hand it over to Crystal. Just a little bit about me. My name is Taylor Shanklin. You can call me T Shank. That's what my friends call me down here in Cowtown, where I am today. And I am the CEO and founder of Barlele, and a new spinoff actually that you'll hear about today called Creative Shizzle. We help nonprofits and small businesses and social do-gooders build a better brand through consistent messaging and content marketing. And let's see, I am actually originally from Texas, even though I now am a mountain woman in Boone, North Carolina. I love queso, I love podcasting, and I love taking my kids and my dogs on long walks in the woods together. So, you know, some people say long walks on the beach. I just go on long walks in the woods. All right, Crystal, let's pass it over to you, my friend.
Thanks, T Shank. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Cherry. I'm excited to be back with Bloomerang and back with my girl T. We are here to talk to you about how to get your CEO and boards excited about year-end fundraising. I am the CEO of the Board Pro, which is a consulting firm here in the Atlanta area. So shout out to those of you who are in the Atlanta area or in the South. But I do work with clients all over the country. So I'm not just southbound, but I'm a DEI trainer and board expert. I'm the mom of a kid and a canine. And so for those of you who are also kid and canine moms, high five to you. I consider myself to be a disruptive leader. I'm always questioning the status quo. I'm also an author. I just wrote a book almost a year ago now, T. It'll be a year in November that I wrote my book, Mac and Cheese Being Different is Okay, which is available on Amazon. I'm a board member, a board consultant. I'm a native New Yorker living in the South, and I'm an extrovert, if you haven't figured that out by now. So just a little bit about me that you won't read in the boring bios they normally share.
Awesome, I love it. Extrovert for sure.
So we're going to talk a little bit about nonprofit resiliency around fundraising. And so we're finding that nonprofits are reporting that they will continue with their major existing programs before the pandemic. They're not making any changes. We know that technology and innovation is now being used for large fundraising initiatives, which is what Taylor's going to talk to you about in a little bit. Social media is the new wave, right? Virtual engagements have saved donor relationships and events, right? We are still, even though many of us are back in person, we are still doing things virtually. And I'm quite comfortable with virtual now, so I'm all good. Donors are still giving in cases when they are contacted early about response plans to the pandemic. So a lot of folks think that donors are fatigued. They're not fatigued, they're just uninformed. So when you continue to keep them in the loop and educate them about what your nonprofit is doing, they will give to you, I promise. And old-fashioned stewardship strategies and tactics have kept annual and major donors engaged. We still have to make the phone calls. We still have to send the thank you notes. We still have to talk about the dog and the ballet performance of the daughter. We still have to do all those wonderful things we have to do to keep the relationship going. Even with all this new technology, the old-fashioned relationship building, handshakes, all that still works. So we know, excuse me, we know, as I mentioned this, I talked a little bit before the slide. So we know that stewardship still works. The number of new and recaptured donors increased sharply in the second quarter of 2020, despite the decline in the number of new donors that were happening in 2019. So basically what this is saying is that despite the fact that we were in the middle of a pandemic, despite the fact that there was so much chaos going on, if you stewarded your donors, you found that they stayed with you. We saw a return of lapsed donors who had gone away and now come back. The smaller donor won big in 2020 because everyone just wanted to give a little something. It was like $25, $30, $40, $50. We wanted to do something to show that we were making a difference, that we were helping in some way when we felt so helpless. So stewardship helped during times of crisis. I promise you. Next. All right, so let's talk about boards. You know, this is my topic, T. This is where what makes my heart throb.
Yep. The board discussion, the thing that often makes us anxious, right?
Yes. But what we want to do now is we want to care more than fear, right? We know that for some boards, fundraising, they're allergic to it, right? We don't want that anymore. We want them to not feel scared and fearful about asking for money. This is not the time for reserve and humility. This is the time for intentional, outright, and deliberate advocacy and asking for what our organizations need, right? So we're asking our boards to care more than fear, to be bold, to be courageous, and to really advocate for the needs of the organization that you're serving at this time of the year, because this is a time when people are feeling benevolent. People are feeling tender. People are feeling like they want to give back. They want to volunteer. They want to do something. So let's leverage this time of year and get our board members out there really advocating for us. Let's go to the next slide. So you asked me, Crystal, what should my board be doing? Well, a whole lot. They should, excuse me, boards should be making statements about their involvement with your organization, constantly letting everybody know that they're involved. We'll find that a lot of board members have people who they are familiar with or in their orbits who don't even know they serve on the board. So this is the time to let everyone know. You need to be transparent, excuse me, about the operations and how they've shifted since the pandemic. This is for the organization, right? The board needs to be supporting the fundraising team, making stretch gifts and helping to learn about donors and the matching gifts that they make, and also asking your companies for matching gifts. I found out a lot of our board members work at big companies, and we're not even asking them, do your company support you if you actually make a donation, right? And informing their colleagues and friends, distant cousins, aunties about the mission of the organization, and then let people know how they can help. So there's just a whole bunch of things that boards can be doing now to support the organization and support the fundraising team as we roll into Q4 of 2022. Let's move forward.
Yeah, I love it that you break this down, Crystal, because that is a question that we get oftentimes is like, well, what should they even be involved in? So I like how you just, put it out there in a simple way that's, hey, this is how you can ask them to get involved.
Exactly. And we know fundraising is not just about asking for money. Fundraising for boards is a whole bunch of other things, but this is the time of year where we also want to ask. But the cultivation hopefully has been going on. Hopefully the cultivation has been going on year round. And this is the time of year where we actually want them to actually take out their checkbooks and their credit cards and their cryptocurrency and make that donation to our organization. But first, we want you to give. We want to make sure that you're making your personal donation as a board member. I don't care how big or small it is. If you're broke, if you just lost your job, $5. Give something to the organization. Put your name in the hat so that we can see their skin in the game and we can show our foundations that we have 100% giving from our board members, right? So make your gift no matter how big or small. Get a match for your gift if your organization or your church or whatever, your Rotary Club does a match gift. Be sure to ask them, and then share your connection with the organization to your friends on social, and then ask others to give. People like me, when they see me coming, they know Crystal's about to ask me for some money. I ask friends, I ask family members, I ask my book club members. I always ask folks to give, and then proudly own your role. Like, I'm a board member on this amazing organization. We are doing tremendous work. I want to share with you what this experience is like, and I want to invite you to invest in the future of the organization, just like I'm doing. So this is what you can do as a board member, and don't shy away from it. Be bold and courageous about it. Care more than fear. What do you think, T?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, care more than fear. I love that mantra.
And listen, if this is, you realize I haven't really been doing a good job of giving my board members the tools they need to fundraise year round, do a crash course, right? We can do a quickie, a crash course in year-end fundraising, right? Take out the fear, coach them on how to make the ask, maybe do some role playing. Like, let's sit down and go back and forth about how you were going to ask someone for money. Like, just practice it, role play it, right? Create a list of folks who will make a gift, We know, looking at our phones, we know what friends have been to Hawaii this year. We know friends who just bought the new Tesla, right? We know who's friends who have kids in private school. We know whose friends are real soft and mushy when it comes to like helping people. These are people who we need to be asking. So create goals for your board members, create a touch plan, right? How many touches are we going to do to get folks engaged, right? We'll talk more about that. And then embrace these digital strategies that T is about to talk about, like peer-to-peer fundraising and all the things that she's going to talk about. So this is how we do a crash course in fundraising. Make sure they have all those tools. They have the case for support, they have the talking points, they have the compelling stories, the videos that are going to make people emote, like all those things. Those are the tools in the toolbox that they need, right? So that they can, the infographic, the data, all those things that has the statistics on how many children you've impacted, how many homeless people are now in homes, all those kinds of things. Make sure that all of those tools are at their hands, at their fingertips, so that they can share those and be ready to launch a really robust fundraising plan at the end of the year. Next. Yeah, again, this fear, we know the reasons why boards resist fundraising. First of all, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that they're going to trespass all over their friends and family, right? Oh God, here they come asking for money. They're afraid of rejection. They have weird relationships with money themselves, right? They haven't reconciled their own relationships with money. There's all kinds of reasons why board members, but mostly that they're not equipped, right? And they don't feel like they know what to say. They don't have the tools. They don't know the numbers. They don't know your fundraising numbers, your goals, how that money is going to be spent once the person makes the donation. Make sure they have all of that information so that you can take the fear out. Give them those success stories with examples. I mean, I don't know about you, a story about a baby or a kitten or something, a child who's suffering from cancer, it's gonna get me every time, T. It's gonna run me to get my credit card. Have those stories that are gonna make people emote, practice and role play, and then make sure that your board has the tools and techniques that they need so they won't have to be fearful. They can go in bold and courageous and ask for what your organization needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, empower them with training, right? It's take the fear away by empowering them with training, because this isn't their full-time job. They all do other stuff, right?
They're just regular people who have big hearts, who want to make a difference, right? They're not trained fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
Till I've been doing this fundraising work for 23 years. And so after 23 years, I know what to say. I know what to do. I have the tools at my fingertips. But these are folks who just work at regular jobs. They're coming in to try to support organizations. They've not been trained. So here's some questions they may want to ask themselves before they ask, right? They need to know, do I know the mission of the organization? Mm-hmm. Do you know why this mission is important to you? Like, as a board member, why are you excited about being on this board? What about that mission resonated with you to make you feel like all the 1.4 million organizations, nonprofits that we have in the United States? Why did you choose that one, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have compelling stories? Is there a compelling story that really moves you that made you feel like, oh my God, this organization has done amazing work. Look at the story of Emily, who has done A, B, and C, and now because of this organization, her life is so much better, right? How about a great video or a photo that you can post on social about the organization, right? Do you have some statistics, infographics, as I mentioned? People like numbers. They like to see and hear how their money is going to impact the community, right? Testimonies, always wonderful, of people who have actually said, you know what, I'm a product of this program. Because of them, I am able to stand on my 2 feet today. I have a home, or I have a job, or whatever it is. I got my GED. Giving options, right? How can I give? Can I give cryptocurrency? Can I give a deferred gift? Can I give artwork? I mean, we want cash. Of course, we need cash, right? We need the liquid money so that we can move. But there are a lot of folks who say, listen, I have artwork, I have a car, I have insurance, I have a house, I have other ways that I can donate. And that deferred giving, don't sleep on it. It's really, really important and impactful. And that's where most people have their assets locked up into things like that. They're not money. So, and then who will thank them besides you? So like, you know, you asked me, T, for a gift. Hey, listen, Chris, I'm on the board of this great organization. Would you make a $500 donation today? I really would appreciate it. This organization is doing an amazing thing. And you're going to say, oh, Chris, thank you so much for making the donation. But who else at the organization is going to thank me? You want to make sure that I'm going to get a thank you note, that maybe the VP or the director of development is going to call me. I'm going to be invited to be on their Facebook page. Maybe I'm going to get a newsletter. Follow up and find out how that person is going to then be invited into the story once my donation is made, because you want to keep me in the loop so that I will give again. And then find out if there are any volunteer engagements for me. So these are things as a board member that you should know before you start asking people to give to your organization. You want to make sure that you have these questions answered and you feel real confident about those answers before you start asking.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, T?
What did you say?
So,
Crystal, you there?
me?
Oh, yeah. Hey, did you ask me a question? Sorry.
Yeah, I said, what do you think about that?
What do I think? No, I agree. I think that it's all about helping them know how to ask. I have said this a lot too over my career in this, is that, you know, these are people who have they're juggling a lot. They are busy professionals oftentimes in a completely different field. And it really is important to help them know, oh, this is how you ask for money for a nonprofit. And I agree too, wholeheartedly with you about like pulling them into the story. When you pull them into the story, it makes it so personal to them. And I know that's one of the kind of next things we'll get into, and we'll give some tips on and how to do that in a digital way. Making it personal, making it relevant to them is going to keep them connected and engaged longer. And think about these board members as Seth Godin likes to talk about, as your sneezers. If anyone's familiar with that Seth Godin concept of the sneezers, the people who help to, you know, it sounds gross, they sneeze, but they spread the word for you. You need them. They are in your circle, and equipping them with the right things to say and talk about and ask, and really making it relevant to them is going to keep them sneezing longer.
Right. You know, and when they're ready to make the ask, make sure they know some things. Make sure they know what the need is. Like, what are you asking for? Like, why do you need it? Why do you need my $500? And then why is $500? You know, is it a specific amount? Do you just need me to make a donation, or do you need me to make a $500 donation? And I say always ask for a specific amount. You know, when I was a fundraiser, I would say, I'm going to go in and I'm going to ask for $50, or I'm going to ask for $100 on that direct mail piece. We're going to give them some options, 50, 100, you know, 150. But ask for a specific amount, know why you need it, know how it's going to be used for good, right? And then, of course, like you said, make that invitation personal, inviting them into the story, inviting them to help. I mean, we all want to feel good about what we're doing, inviting me to help to be a part of the story, and then using those peer-to-peer opportunities. I'm a big peer-to-peer. It's my birthday, it's my anniversary. I'm going to put out something on Facebook and social media to get people to give. And then be ready to respond personally for every response that you get. Like, so if you're putting out a campaign on Facebook, and you put a photo or a video out there, and someone responds back to you, oh my God, this seems so cool. Make sure that you respond back, engage people, right? So that they can see that you're excited about the work and that you're trying to pull them in to the story as well. And then send big thanks when folks say, I'm going to make a donation. I'm going to support this effort. I'm going to support this mission, show appreciation, and then let the world know you gave. You know, go back on Facebook and say, I gave $500 to this great organization per my girl T, who said this is a great organization to support, and let folks know, because people like to see things like that, and then they will follow in kind. Well, oh, Crystal gave $500. Well, let me see what this mission is about, you know? Yes, let's go forward.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way I've learned about different types of nonprofits, just seeing what my friends are doing with them.
Exactly. So we want to know a little bit about what donors want. I mean, there are a lot of motivations for giving, why people give to organizations, but they really do want to be involved in the life of the organization. It's not just give right now and then I'm done. I mean, most most times people will, many times people will make donations without even doing any research. They just do it because of the person who's asking. But there are some people who they really do want to know, what is the problem that I'm helping to solve here, right? Like, how can I be engaged and involved in this organization, in the life of the organization? Not just my little $50 now, my little $100 now, but how can I help next year? You know, maybe I can increase my gift, and how is that going to help build this program? Are you going to be able to hire more staff? Are you going to be able to get more equipment? Or more children are going to be helped? Let me know all of those things, right? They want to know the impact of their donations. Exactly, where did my money go again? How is this program better because I made this donation? And then guess what? Some people, I don't need a thanks. Don't worry about it. I personally, send me a thank you card. Like, I want to feel good, you know, and a handwritten note, even better for me. But there's some people who say, I don't care. I say most donors care. They want some kind of recognition. They want a thank you note. They want a card. They want an email, something that says, I recognize you and I see you for what you're doing to support our work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then create a goal and say, you know what, this year I'm going to raise $750 for my nonprofit. You know, give yourself a little wiggle room and say, okay, maybe 1,000, right? I'm going to have a goal for, I know for $750, how many people I need to ask. I know what this money is going to go for. I know how it's going to make a difference, and I'm going to raise $750 between now and the end of December. Let's figure out how. Let's move forward. How about you just create a list? 25 names, pull out your cell phone, go through your contacts and start scrolling through and be like, oh, wait a minute, Lisa, yeah, Lisa, I know she could probably make a $50 donation. Let me put Lisa's name down. Okay, let me see. There's Carrie. I know that she's a softie. She will definitely give $100. Just start creating your list out of your phone, guys. You will be surprised how many people are in your contacts that you had never asked or never told about your involvement with your organization. So create a list of people in your network. Think about what they feel passionate about, what makes their hearts throb, and then figure out, you know what, I think she can give 100. I think she can give 50. I know she can give 500. And believe it or not, when you start calling people and telling them about the great work of the organization, they won't hang up on you, I promise. They will listen. If you have all of those things that we talked about, the case for support, the compelling story, the video, they will at least give you some airtime. So go ahead and make that list and then write the amount you think each person can give. Ooh, that's sphere of influence. We think, oh man, I don't know anyone. I don't really do a whole lot. I don't know people who are rich. You don't have to know people who are rich. You live every day. So you have people who you go to church with. You know, you have friends on Facebook. You know, you have a neighbor who might be a lawyer who is in a local Rotary. Your book club, my book club, they can't stand it when I walk in the room because they're like, oh God, here she comes. Crystal's going to ask us something again. But they're just in your regular life, in your everyday life, people you see at the gym, at church, the book club. These are people who are prospects for asking. So you have a sphere of influence, believe it or not, of people who can support your organization. And I say tap into it big time. So T, I think
that your friends in your book club didn't know it was going to be so expensive to be in a book club until you joined, Crystal.
Yes. They know me by now. I think this might be my last slide. I think I'm passing it along to you, T.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thanks, Crystal. I'll do a quick check. Josh, is there anything in the questions chat or box that has come up while Crystal's been going through her stuff?
Yeah, no, we do not have questions. So just a reminder, if you do have questions for our panelists, use that Q&A box and pop them in there, and we'll check in again once Taylor wraps up here, and we'll get any questions that people were hesitant to ask and ask now. We'll make sure that they get covered. So thanks for checking. I'll send it back to you.
Cool. Okay, good deal. All right. Well, thank you, C. Thanks for all of the stuff that you shared. I love those ideas. I love the quick tips on how to get going and how to get people involved. Now we're going to talk about digital, because digital is actually a great way to take some of these recommendations from Crystal and get your people involved. And I've been doing digital fundraising with nonprofits for 15 years now, and there is a lot to know and a lot to potentially do. So I'm just going to start off with saying these are some ideas. You don't have to do them all, but hopefully this helps to kind of build upon what Crystal shared and gives you some tools and some ideas for how do I get my board to start doing these things, to start making the ask, potentially in digital channels as well. So I know that digital can feel this way, and in all of that time I have spent in the digital realm, people ask me, they think, oh, Taylor, you run a digital marketing, you want to know everything about digital. And I still feel like this guy sometimes where I'm just like juggling all the things. I'm like, well, I got to go learn about that because it's new and it changes all the time. And that is okay. That is just the way of the world right now. So first off, breathe. It's all right. I always tell people when it comes to digital, just take a breath, because I hear this a lot. Oh, well, do we have to be on TikTok now? And now there's this new social media called Be Real. And, there's this one and that one. And sometimes I'm like, I haven't even heard of all these things. It's not necessarily possible to keep up with everything or realistic. So let's do some good things and let's do them really well. So breathe. Do not try to boil the ocean with digital.
I love it.
When you try to take on too much with digital, it can very quickly become overwhelming, and then none of it gets done well. So I really want you to focus on, when you think about some of these things I'm going to walk through as ideas, how can you pick a few of them? How can you do them well with your board and your staff even? And then how can you do them consistently? One of the biggest pieces of the puzzle to digital marketing success and growth and brand awareness is consistency. So that's why I always say, don't try to boil the ocean. Remember that even when we are meeting in digital channels, which I know sometimes can feel a little bit disconnected and distant, right? When we're talking about giving, to give is human. I think it is one of the most human things that we do for each other. And so remember, your board members and all of the people that they're going to connect with in their digital spaces are connecting around this very beautiful and joyful experience, which is a human shared experience that we all have. So remember that when you're taking your messaging and your ways of engaging into the digital world, I think it's so important to keep things human and authentic. We have to do it in digital though now, right? So it might be that there used to be a lot more in-person interaction. And now in this virtual world where things are more efficient and scalable in digital channels, how do we keep that human element, right? If you're not actually sitting down for coffee or you're not actually knocking on doors, shaking hands and having a conversation, how do we keep it human? I want to give you some ideas on that today. And before we get into some of those ideas on kind of how to keep that human engagement and that human spirit alive, I want to just break down a few of the biggest trends that I think your board can help become involved in, both for your end of year campaign, for your Giving Tuesday, as you're thinking about closing out the year big with those campaigns, but also taking these into 2023 as well. Just think of these as holistic digital fundraising ways in which your board can be involved. So through social fundraising, through channels like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, or even LinkedIn. I talk a lot to our nonprofit clients about how to better use LinkedIn as a channel, in particular around your board. If these are highly professional people, they might have large networks on LinkedIn. And so that's a great social fundraising and brand awareness and engagement tool to have your board involved in, just sharing what they're doing, like Crystal said.
Yeah, I think people appreciate LinkedIn and how much of a wonderful marketing tool it is.
I think so too. I think it's sometimes I think, I hear hesitancy around LinkedIn and in the nonprofit space. And I really think for your board, for your corporate sponsors and partners and all of those major areas and sources of fundraising and engagement, this is where the professional network is. So it's a phenomenal place to share stories of impact. Maybe if you have blogs that you have up on your website that highlight the mission, highlight the work, all of those things are phenomenal content for LinkedIn as well. So I'll get off my LinkedIn bandwagon here for a bit.
Sorry, I got you on it. I apologize.
You know I'll go off, Crystal. No, I'm kidding. Anyhow, second trend is just thinking digital first. All right, this is a mindset shift, right? This kind of is thinking about how can we even take campaigns that are going to be started in the online space from the beginning. Traditionally, we've thought, how do we take this, maybe we've thought about how do we take this direct mail piece and then fit it into our digital programs. But the digital first mindset is one where you're saying this whole thing is running online, right? That could be the trend in things like live stream fundraising and gaming, and there's all of these digital first channels. So that's another major trend that I recommend you just continue to watch. The last trend I want to talk today is about conversational marketing, conversational messaging. This in particular, as we're talking about boards and getting your boards involved, Crystal already said it, pull out your phone, scroll through, who can you text? Text is a huge way, highly effective way to get involved and in front of people in a channel in which they're going to pay attention, they're going to pop their head up, and they're probably going to respond. Now, there are a lot of digital tools out there. Email is one of them that gets lost in the mix. So if you can have your board members working direct line of communications via text messaging, Facebook messaging, different ways where they're having a one-on-one conversation. We call it conversational marketing because it is more of a back and forth conversation. So I think that's a trend that continues, that can be used in end of year and Giving Tuesday and programs like that, but also think through in 2023 how you can take those trends into the next year.
Hey Taylor, I remember when phones first came out and we fundraisers, we were trying to figure out ways to get in touch with people. They weren't answering their house phones anymore, right?
Yeah.
And the whole idea of texting someone just made everyone clutch their pearls like, oh my God, we could never do that.
Yeah.
But these days, as you just said, everybody has their phone in front of them, right? And so I don't know about you, but I'm probably getting text messages like all day long, and they show up when they come. So even more so than emails. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think texting is something now that we should embrace and figure out a way to tactfully and gracefully reach out to your friends and colleagues and share this information on your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can give your audience an opportunity even to tell you what they prefer. Do they prefer phone? Do they prefer email? Do they prefer text? And then meet them in their channel of choice as much as possible. One of my favorite examples of a really effective text campaign was a gym that recruited me to come work out and sign up for a membership. And when I first went into the gym and I signed up for their free class, they said, hey, how do you want to be communicated with? And text was an option. I said, yeah, that sounds good. And what I loved about it is it was easy. I didn't have to answer the phone because I'm a busy mom, a busy worker bee. And I could just check in and text back real quick and just say, yeah, sure, I'll be there, sign me up for the 2 p.m. class on Friday or whatever it was, right? They made it so easy. And so I do think that is a channel of communication, in particular when you're thinking about your board members and the relationships that they have with their sphere of influence, as Crystal talked about. You can coach them and hey, just text your friends. Just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you interested? Here's a link to go find out more on our website. Here's a way to go sign up and create a Facebook fundraiser. And so give them the tools to be able to, let's just say, work their channel of choice, if that is a channel of choice. Couple statistics. So getting into thinking about the effectiveness of texting, it's highly, highly effective. I've talked to some organizations who have been running text campaigns, and their open rate, click-through rate, all of that stuff is just through the roof when it comes compared to email. Facebook as well, Facebook giving tools, things like Facebook Messenger campaigns, where again, it's that direct conversation with people. Those are highly, highly effective. 88% of donors who have given through Facebook say they're likely to do it again in the future. And it's that ease of use, right? It's meeting people where they already are instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, reinvent the channel. All right, so now I kind of teed up some trends and some thoughts about digital and where maybe you might want to focus on what could be effective. Now I'm going to get into a big long drum roll of here are some examples of how to actually get your board engaged. Really think of them as digital ambassadors for your end of year fundraising program. So here's the example roll. You ready, Crystal? I go through this. It's going to be a lot. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Take a drink of water if you need to. Take a breath.
I want to get ready.
Get ready to take some notes. The first thing I want to say is don't reinvent the wheel. You already have a ton of information, probably that you've been collecting, creating over the course of the year. And now you have your board ready to get involved as, let's just call them, micro influencers of your micro content. And you create that micro content from pillar content that you've already been creating throughout the year. One of the best examples of this is your annual report. I said I'm down here at a client's event in Texas. I got my conference bag that they gave to me, and they had their annual report in it. And it's 30 pages long of phenomenal content about the impact that they've been having over the course of this last year. If you take that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Start equipping your board with small clips of that annual report that's easy to share on social media and text messages, forward along as emails. So again, one of the biggest things that can be scary and feel overwhelming in digital is, oh my gosh, I've got to come up with new stuff to say all the time. And that's so hard. You don't, right? You've already been creating stuff all year long. Just clip it into small bite-sized pieces and then make sure your board has that information and those pieces for them to go share on their social. How do you make sure they have some of that stuff? Well, tell them what to say, equip them with example, copy, photos. Here you go. We just posted this on our Facebook page or our LinkedIn or our Instagram story. Go reshare it on your story or your page. So this is just an example of giving these board social media digital ambassadors, that we'll call them, the tools in what to post, what to share, so that it's easy for them to share within their spheres of influence. So a lot of times this can be done in a very simple way. You can give them a Google Doc, a Word doc, a Google spreadsheet, whatever it is that you can share out with all of them to say, hey, here you go. We already wrote it for you. Copy and paste, or copy and paste and tweak it and fine tune it, to have it in your voice. And so when we do this, we find that, guess what? People copy, paste, and reshare, and your message gets out there for more people.
You know what? See, I love that example because, well, first of all, St. Jude is one of my favorite charities to give to. But the fact that you're telling me how much I need to give, you're saying, right? So I know what you're asking for. And if I can't give 150 and I can only give 50 or only give 75, that's fine too. But I know that I'm going to give her $150. And guess what? That $150 is going to help her family, right? Who's already scared and stressed out and depressed and distressed about their baby having cancer. They have to be away from home and they need a place to stay so they can be close to her after her surgery is over. And who can't relate to that, having a sick child, having to go to another state, and where are you going to stay? How are you going to afford to stay for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days after the surgery? my $150 can help. So I think that's a compelling, just in one sentence, right? You're telling how much to give and the impact that this gift is going to make and how it's going to help Jenna. And then not only that, you gave the person a name. Her name is Jenna, right? And all we need now is a cute picture of Jenna, right? And you're telling me how I can make an impact and how I can help this child and her family. So I think something like that can be very impactful, quick and easy.
Quick, super quick and easy. And when you do it for your board, they're very likely to just say, oh yeah, sure, you made it so easy, I'll do it. And again, Crystal, great point you called out. Kids like Jenna, right? That's that human aspect. That's that authenticity that's pulling in and making people feel like, oh yeah, I really connect with this, even though it's in this, digital space.
Exactly.
All right, so how else can you give them easy, digestible content? Give them things like infographics. I think that Crystal maybe mentioned that as one of her recommendations, right? But when you're thinking about what's easy stuff for my board to share, again, take those infographics that you might already have in your annual report that you did, create them into this, social media posts, singular posts where you can give them one infographic on impact statistics per week over the course of November, just as an example. Say, hey, start sharing our impact over November as we're leading up into our giving season. Here's 4 impact infographics. You can share one per week. Again, it's all about making it easy for them to engage. Ask them to create a personal video. Again, Crystal talks a lot about you have to ask. These are some of those things that if you ask, a lot of times people will say, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll do that. And what should they share? Well, maybe you should ask your board to share a personal video about why they're on your board, what they love about your mission. Maybe they can share a story of impact that they've personally seen from your organization, right? So give them some freedom to share their personal story about their involvement and their love of your mission and the work that they do with you as a supporting member of the board. So that's a great way. You can even, again, give an ask amount, say, hey, in their personal video, coach them on asking for a specific amount when they're saying, hey, go click on that link below, give $100 or give $350 or give whatever the ask is. Coach them on that specific ask.
And T, I don't know about you, but whenever my friends and family post a video, particularly if they're in it, I'm curious. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to say, okay, what is Tamara saying today? What is she asking for today? What's going on with her today? And so if nothing else, I'm going to at least click and listen, right? And so you have my attention. And then she's talking about this great organization that she's a part of, and she's asking for my support. Tamara is a good friend of mine. I want to help her. I want to support her. I'll make a donation, and so don't, definitely leverage those friendships that you have and the fact that they're going to be curious to know what's going on with you. So when you create that video, they're going to click on it to see what's happening.
Right. Yeah, video continues to be a growth opportunity in terms of just getting people's attention on social channels or in email. Some email platforms now even allow you to include video. It kind of depends on your email platform, so you might look into that if you do. But video is a great way, again, to bring that human element into it. And we're also used to scrolling on our phones all day long now and looking for things like that. I agree with you, Crystal. It stands out if I see someone, especially if it's someone who's not normally posting a bunch of videos, post a video, I definitely click in on it. And like you said, like, oh, what's Sarah saying today? What's this about? It gets your attention. If they don't want to do a video, some people are not comfortable on video, so give them the option too of posting photos of their involvement with your organization, right? So here's just an example. They can post a photo of themselves maybe when they're out volunteering. I support Horizon House. Trust me, it's an amazing investment worth making. Again, specific call to action. Give $250 here with a specific URL. So that might be a URL that goes directly to your donation page or donation campaign for end of year giving, if you do have a specific one set up for end of year. So give people the option to, if you push them into video and they really aren't comfortable with video, they might not do anything. So I like to give people options and say, hey, do a video, or if you really don't want to, do a photo and show us a photo of you engaged in our organization. Again, that's that human connection and authentic element that you can bring into the fold here. Some other ideas, some things that you can do to make things fun, right? We like to put our profile photos in circles that promote different things that we're doing sometimes. My team and I like to use a tool called Twibanize. You can use it for free. You can go and you can set up your own custom Twibanize, circular profile thing to go around a profile photo on social media. So maybe sometimes you see people on Facebook with a specific circle around their profile photo. I see it on LinkedIn. This is just a tool that you can use to make those. These are a couple of examples of ones that that we've done. You can see the picture of me here with the fingers up. This was just an example of one that we made for a client's walk that they did recently. And we actually made this version as one that can be even used more for like Instagram stories and things like that. So you can give people options that include your branding for end of year campaign.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice engaging thing. And again, all you got to do then is like, once you make it, then go post it on your social channels, go send it out in your latest newsletter and say, hey, if you want to continue to support us and spread the word further, go update your profile photo on social media with our ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, crowdfunding and P2P. Let's talk a little bit about this because you might be thinking it's end of year fundraising. What does this have to do with crowdfunding and P2P? Well, or peer-to-peer. Well, it has to do with just, again, giving your board another opportunity to engage and ask their friends to get involved with your organization. So I don't think that crowdfunding or peer-to-peer fundraising has to only be done around a walk or a ride or some sort of event. I think you can do it all year long and you can apply it to different types of fundraising campaigns and programs. So think about it this way. What would it look like if you asked all of your friends to pledge $5 for every mile you walk over the course of the next month of November as a way to get them actually engaged in maybe something that's good for them and something that is actively engaging your organization on a regular basis, right? So you can say, we're raising money at end of year, we're doing this. So give your board members an opportunity to go create, their own DIY, their own do-it-yourself peer-to-peer fundraising program that they can, either do through Facebook fundraising on social media, or if you do have a peer-to-peer fundraising tool where you can allow people to set up, do-it-yourself crowdfunding or peer-to-peer campaigns, use it at end of year fundraising too, and use it with your board, because maybe if you give them something unique and special around the giving season and the giving holidays, then they might say, oh, cool, yeah, I'll go create this walk thing I'm going to do, or this challenge or whatever, and I'm going to tie it into the end of year giving.
Yeah, we need to empower them to be creative so that they enjoy it, that this is a fun activity for them, something that they've actually created themselves, is tailored for the things that they're excited about. So for instance, if you are a walker, and I am, while you're walking, you can chronicle your walk. You can take pictures. Like right now, this time of year, people are putting out their Halloween decorations, right?
Yeah.
There's like a dog that every time I walk by his house, he barks at me like I'm about to kill him. I love to videotape him and just share that with my friends, like, there he goes again, he's barking. And so just make it fun and people get into it. They like, oh my God, that house is so amazing. I love the way they decorate it. Look at those witches. So along the way, while you're walking, you can be taking pictures and creating videos and make it fun so that people will get into it and be like, go, Chris, you can do one more mile. I'm going to give you $5 more. And so this is something that I'm into and excited about, and people who love me and care about me will continue to support me. And by this way, I'm giving to the organization. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Or do a fall walk. The leaves are changing, whatever it
Yes.
is. Yeah, exactly. Empower them
Yes.
and coach them on how to make this interesting and
Yes.
tied into that end of year season. I love that. I love the idea of like the decorations and taking pictures of the decorations. um, just a couple of other ideas too, things like food drives, online toy drives, all of those things can be integrated into end of year with peer-to-peer or social fundraising, right? Where again, it's just your board is creating, hey, we're doing this toy drive for end of year, come bring a toy down, show up, come give money. And again, you're just using more people as ambassadors to help spread the word through their social networks, and again around end of year fundraising. So I just encourage you and invite you to think creatively about end of year and how you can use these other types of fundraising programs that traditionally aren't really used at end of year, but are fantastic ways to get a board engaged in an end of year fundraising opportunity. Throw a virtual board fundraising party, right? If you can get people to come in person, you want to do that, awesome. If you need to throw it virtually, that's okay too. This could be a way to actually get the board to also donate, right? It's $150 donation per person to attend, just as an example. You can pick your amount, but make it fun. Create a signature drink, do karaoke, do Jeopardy or trivia. All of these things are things that you can do even in this virtual world that I've seen organizations do. And I've hosted some myself, virtual holiday parties where we did things like trivia, and it can be a lot of fun and allow people to feel engaged, like they're getting to know each other more on a personal level. And it's not all just about coming to a board meeting and getting asked for money and getting told what to do, right? But like also inviting them in to fun opportunities to engage with you, your staff, and each other around this time of year.
So I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, my family and I did a virtual, and we did the ugly sweater contest, which was lots of fun. And then the next year we did the pajamas, like each family bought pajamas. I mean, which seems kind of cheesy, but it was really a lot of fun, and people got into it. So I mean, there's just things that we can do. And then we created like this really festive drink, and everybody had to make their own drink, and then come to come online and share it. And, oh, mine tastes really good. Mine is sweet. Oh, I put cherries in mine. And people really get involved and excited when you do that kind of stuff. But you can do that and charge people, charge your friends, like, look, we're doing this for a party, for a purpose. Come, let's have a good time. Let's drink some good drinks, some eggnog, and spend $100, and I'm going to donate it back to my organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to one time where there was a performer, a guitar player, singer, songwriter, and he came, and it was like $50 donations equaled song requests, and then he would play any song that you asked
That's a
for.
neat idea. I love it.
Yeah, on the acoustic guitar. So I challenged him, and I had him play a Pitbull song on his acoustic guitar.
No
So
way.
that was fun. That was fun.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you know what? I want to hear if we have some questions, but just remember, guys, at the end of the day, we want to make people, again, as I shared, we want to make people feel good and appreciated that they've given to you. So remember to say thank you. If you're like me, you still like those handwritten thank you notes, a video thank you, maybe an email, a warm email. Even a letter. I mean, people still send letters every once in a while. Year end is permissible for letters, right? Send me some warm cookies. Hello, I would love warm cookies as a thank you. Recognize me on the website or on social, and to keep them, thank them. So I think that's a wonderful way to kind of end our presentation today, that we want to make people feel good when they get back to us. So we want to open it up to see if there are any questions, Josh.
Absolutely. Yeah, Josh, what do we got on the questions line? And here's just real quick too, if you want to grab our contact information, if you want to reach out directly to me or Crystal with any follow-up questions. I know both of us are happy to chat offline and answer any questions that maybe have come up for you.
Cool. Before we hop into questions here, we're going to fire off a little. I'm going to do it here real quick, a little poll. So if you'd like Crystal, if you'd like follow up from Crystal, Taylor, or from the Bloomerang team, go ahead and respond to the survey, and then we'll pass that information on to our panelists today. So go ahead and just select it. You can pick 1, 2, or all 3 of them, and we'll pass that on. So I'll keep that open here for a minute. But let me slide into questions here. So Kim asks, is there a way to honor donors who don't want to be publicly named?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great, some people do want to be anonymous, right? So you can, you know, my opinion is still publicly say, thank you so much. We've had some incredible support from our board over the years and over the year, and we've been able to do this thanks to their support, right? So I think it's okay to, if they're okay with amounts being shared, but not their name, say like, we had a huge anonymous donor give this massive gift, and that gift allowed us to have this impact, and share specific things that you either did with the gift or plan to do with the gift. I think those are great ways to still celebrate the gift without naming the person. Crystal, what would you say?
Yeah, and unless they say they don't want to receive anything, you don't have to publicly send them, put it out there, but you can still send them the warm cookies. You can still send them the thank you card, right? So those are things you can send behind the scenes. And like Taylor said, just publicly share that you had this really wonderful donation from an anonymous donor. But yeah, no, I think we should still thank them, but honor their request not to be publicly displayed with their donation.
That's great. That's really, really great feedback there. We have a bunch of them here. I'm going to try and crank through as many as we can. So when comparing, oh no, that wasn't the one I was going to. So Cookie asked, other fundraising consultants with whom Cookie's worked with suggest that we not put requests, like a specific request amount out there. Is that person maybe considering a larger gift than the amount that you're putting in front of them? What are your thoughts on that? I know that sometimes with major gifts, if you know the person, right?
Yeah, so major gifts and major gift prospects and annual donors are definitely stewarded differently, right? So you're not going to send, for someone who can give you a $10,000 donation, you're not going to send them a request for $50, right? So that we're taking them out of this scenario. This person is going to be stewarded and cultivated completely different, right? But for your person who right now, when we're trying to get those $50 and $100 donations in, this is the advice for those people. For your $10,000 donor, your $50,000 donor, you're having separate conversations with them. They're meeting with the CEO. You're meeting with with their financial advisors. That's a whole different type of cultivation than these $50 and $100 and $200 donors.
That's a really good question. Jason asks, what's the best way to include Bloomerang into board fundraising? So I will just sort of, Jason, there's several ways to do that, depending on the size of your organization, your comfort level with giving the board members access to Bloomerang. That's one. You can also do reporting. You can tag. So if you have key major donors or people that you want the board members to steward or follow up with, you can tag them and then run reports that way. So providing that information out. And there's just several different ways there. So we have a number of things on our website. I can point you in the right direction if you have additional questions, or our support and account team would be happy to have a larger conversation if that would be helpful. So ladies, we are at time. I can run a couple of minutes over, or what I could do is send you all the questions. And if you wanted to reach out to people individually, there's probably about 5 or 6.
Well, I can stay 1 or 2 more minutes if you have another.
I can stay too. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a couple more minutes too.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. All right, so here we go back to this. So Cookie asked, our board, and there are only 5 of them at the moment, has made the commitment to pick up a few folks, donors, to have a continuing relationship with. Maybe ask, but not always at the beginning, and to learn enough about how to use our CRM to look up each person's history with us and make notes. But I feel a little nervous and a bit reluctant to get started. Your slides will help. Are there any other ideas to sort of get board members engaged?
Okay, I'm sorry. You spoke very quickly. So the board is just kind of summarize.
I wasn't following the question. Sorry, Josh.
I go fast. I'm sorry. So it's basically Cookie has a board that's willing to help out.
Yeah.
They're willing to go into the CRM, the donor database, and make the notes and whatnot. And they're not always going to do asks. Some of it is just going to be stewardship, right?
Yes.
Are there any other things that Cookie should be doing with her board to help sort of make that a seamless transition and make sure that the board members feel comfortable?
Got it. Got it. Well, I mean, one of the things is give them, you know, things that I think are easy for kind of anyone to feel comfortable doing, you know, involve them in helping to write thank you notes to donors.
Yeah.
That could be one way. So if they're getting into the CRM and they're kind of looking at who's been giving and they're helping out by doing some of that work, ask them to then also get into the mix of helping with the thank you note writing or even stewardship
Hackathon.
planning,
Making calls.
right? Getting their input on how to steward people. So I think it's great if you've got board members who are going to help with some of the work in that way. And I think those are ways that they could easily be trained on how to help.
So like I shared, you know,
Mhm.
board fundraising is not just about making the ask. I mean, all year long, you should be doing all different kinds of things to get your board and keep your board engaged. You know, this is the having them come with you on a donor visit, or visit the shelter to say thank you to the volunteer. Like all those things are fundraising engagement opportunities. But this time of year, is a time we're actually going to make the ask, right? This is a time where we're actually asking people because we know that this is a time where people soften and they're more willing to make donations, right? So hopefully all year long, you've been doing all those things. They've written the thank you notes. They've looked at the grant applications. They've authored a letter, like all the things that boards can do to stay engaged in the fundraising process throughout the year, which is not asking. It's just posting on social media, all of those things, looking at the strategic plan. Those are a lot of things that boards can do to have their fingers kind of in the mix during the year. But at the end of the year is the time where we're going to say, okay, guys, we've done all this cultivation work all year long. Now we're actually going to make the ask. And for smaller donors, if you've not been cultivating them year round, they don't need a lot of touchy-feely. All they need is something to make them feel good right now. That video, that infographic, that thing that's going to make them say, you know what, I'm going to give you $100. You know, I don't need it. I'm not going to give my kid another sweater. I'm going to give you $100 instead. You know, so just that touchy-feely thing that's going to make them emote and want to give to you right now. The cultivation stuff that happens all year long, we're not going to talk about that right now. Right now, we need them to make that donation.
That's great. One last one here. We're going to wrap it up here. Kathy asks, is direct mail still the #1 format, or should we be moving away from direct mail and go to email and digital only? Or is it a mix?
I think
It's a mix.
Yes,
Josh.
it's a mix.
I
And
think
direct
it's a
mail,
mix.
this time of year, it's okay for direct mail. Most of the time, when people are opening up cards and things like that, and I think it also depends on who's in your database too, right? So segmented donor segmentation. If you got a whole bunch of young people in your database, maybe not so much the mail. But if you have baby boomers like me, I love opening envelopes, right? So people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, yeah, please send me a Christmas card all day long because I want to see the cute picture of you and your dog in the Santa hat. Like that's me. But somebody who's in their 20s and 30s, they might be okay with just something on Instagram or something on Facebook. So I think you have to know who's in your database.
Yeah, definitely a mix. And one thing too, I'll add on to that is you can integrate things, right? You can integrate digital methods of giving into your direct mail. That's as easy to do as including a QR code in your direct mail piece. So people can quickly snap it and go online if they want to give. I like opening the stuff, but I don't know where my checkbook is. So because I don't know, right? So I will snap it.
Good point.
I snap it and I'll go and I'll do something else in the digital realm, right?
And speaking of that, I think I saw a question in the chat about whether you should have options for people to give Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. And I say absolutely, because like Taylor, I can't find my credit card. I don't know what the username and password is. Like, I can't think about all that right now. You want me to give you $50 or $100? I'm going to go to Cash App, put the $100 in, hit pay, and be done. And I can go on about my day. But if you're asking me to remember the password,
right,
where my credit card is or where the checkbook is. So whatever your donors say is okay for them, if they say I'd rather give to you via Venmo or Cash App, and your organization can accept gifts that way, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think ease is the big thing, right? We hear that, right? The other thing is there's some new data coming out. I don't know if ladies have seen it. There's some new data coming out that Gen Z is actually really into direct mail, and I think it's because it's novel. Like,
I have read that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I
I'm a
agree. It's
geriatric,
novel to them. Yeah.
right? And I'm a
Yeah.
geriatric millennial. So like I'm like on the, the base, like on the what is the yeah. So
Yeah.
like I kind of still like it. I don't know if I just grew up with it or not, but like, there
Yeah.
are millennials who prefer digital. So like we
Yeah.
should keep diversity, I think, is the big thing here.
That's
Right?
true.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. What's old
All
is new
right.
again, things
Yes.
come back around.
It comes back
Yeah,
around.
so
You're
true,
right.
so true. Well, Crystal, Taylor, it was a pleasure. I mean, again, this really should have made my day. I know all of our attendees definitely learned some things. We saw a ton of questions. I will send you all the questions.
Okay.
You all have Crystal and Taylor's email addresses, so feel free to reach out to them. I know they would be happy to hear from you. So if you have follow-up questions, please.
Yeah, and follow me on LinkedIn. I'm big on LinkedIn, and this is Taylor. So friend me on LinkedIn. Let's link up together, and I can answer your questions that way as well.
Yeah.
Next time we
same
just have
here.
to have QR codes with your LinkedIns and like.
Yeah, we should have QR codes of our LinkedIn. Next time, Josh, next time. Let's take it to the next level.
All right, everyone. We will be back next Thursday for another webinar. But until then, have a wonderful week and happy fundraising, everyone. Take care.
Happy
so much.
fundraising.
Bye.
Happy Tuesday is coming up. All
See ya.
right. Bye,
Bye.
guys.